Thank you for the introduction, Kerry. I think you might be confusing me with Ryan Reynolds, maybe. But look, no Magnum PI here. Look, Rox Resources, look, I joined the company now, it's almost 18 months ago. And what I found myself, there was a few things that we wanted to, really sort of iron out with the company to be able to take it forward. We've been on the process of doing that over the last 18 months, and we've really set ourselves up with our resource update that we released on Monday of this week, with a strong platform to be able to take this company forward and be able to lead it through feasibility studies. And our key milestones for this year will be driven in and around completing those studies. The resource update puts Rox Resources and the UME Gold Project as one of the highest grade gold developers on the ASX. 2.3 million ounces of gold at 4.4 grams a tonne sits well above where most of our peers sit. Our pre-feasibility study will be due out in June of this year. We're looking at a couple of different processing scenarios. So historically at UME, they had a BIOX plant on site. We have some really good production data that we'll be able to leverage off as part of our feasibility studies. Our scoping study that was released in October 2022 had a concentrate sale methodology, producing a gold concentrate quite similar to what Silver Lake do at the Deflector Gold Mine. And one of the things that we'll also look to potentially go down a path of is something similar to what Emerald Resources are doing with their project in Cambodia at Okvau, where they do an ultra-fine grind and oxidise the material for 24 hours prior to leaching. These are very tried and proven processes that we'll investigate as part of our pre-feasibility study. We've also had a lot of regional and near mine success. We've announced a significant exploration target for about 1.1 to 1.8 million ounces that all sits within the current UME operations. These are areas that are close to the mine areas that, with our new understanding of the ore zone and our increased knowledge of the structural and geological controls, that we've been able to develop this exploration target. If we're able to start converting this, that leads to a potential increase in scale that we will look at in the operations in the future. We've also had some regional success as well, which not only highlights the potential gold mineralisation along the belt, but also other minerals as well. There's a lot of lithium anomalism that sits at the very south of our tenure, and that presents other opportunities for us. Obviously, gold is our main focus, and getting the UME project back into production is our #1 goal. But having the potential of other minerals that we can use as potential funding sources is an opportunity for us to minimise dilution for our shareholders. Located about 120 kilometres southeast of Mount Magnet, it is a belt that is very underexplored. The UME Gold Belt itself, this is a district scale opportunity. We've got 60 kilometres of strike of the UME shear zone, the only gap in our tenure being where Ramelius Resources operate the high-grade Penny West Gold Mine. We finished off last year with about $4.3 million in the bank, which puts us in a strong financial position over the next couple of quarters. As I discussed previously, we've had the ups and downs in the share price over 12 months, not too dissimilar to most of the junior sector. What we want to focus on moving forward is how we can minimise dilution for our shareholders with potentially monetising some of our other assets. The resource update that we've put out, we've focused on quality over quantity. This is a very high-grade resource. At 4.4 grams a tonne, as I said, we sit well and truly above most of our peers. 2.3 million ounces gives the project the scale it needs to be able to go into development. And when you look at the underground grade, specifically the underground indicated grade, which will form the bulk of our pre-feasibility study, it's sitting at 1.1 million ounces at 6 grams a tonne. That is going to be a significant operation in anyone's eyes. The amount of work that we've put into this resource update in understanding the structural controls and the geological controls and mineralisation really do give us a platform to be able to progress forward on. And continually over the lifetime that RRS has had this asset, we've continued to build and increase confidence in the resource, building out that indicated resource now to sit in excess of 1.5 million ounces. If we look at the increase in the underground indicated that we've completed in the last update, our target was to convert between 200,000 and 300,000 ounces of indicated resources. We actually converted 360,000 ounces. This exceeded our expectations, and this is going to feed straight into our feasibility studies. When you look at RRS and we compared ourselves across the junior gold explorers and developers, 2.3 million ounces at 4.4 grams a tonne sets ourselves above our peers. If you look at the comparisons with the third on the chart in WA gold projects in terms of size and scale of the resource. If you look at grade, the nearest comparisons that come close to RRS are 50% below what our average 4.4 head grade is. I've got no doubt that UME will once again be a mine. It was previously mined in the mid-90s, and I've got no doubt that this will be a mine again. And when you look at the ounces of vertical metre that you see over a project at 6,000 ounces of vertical metre in the top 200 metres, over the top 300 metres we're talking 4,000 ounces plus of vertical metre. This is a significant project. When you look at the drop-off in the ounces per vertical metre as we go deeper, that is driven by a lack of drilling. And that is where we want to target to continue to build out the resource of RRS and to continue to grow the company. Our resource update was complete in January, as we said. We want to focus now on the mine planning aspect. We'll go out to our request for quotations, get the costs in for this project and get it up to a feasibility level up until June this year. We've already commenced a lot of metallurgical test work. As said previously, we're investigating 3 forms of processing for the operation, and they're all standard, refractory processing operations. These projects have been in operation at areas such as Fosterville, the Okvau project in Cambodia, as I spoke about earlier. They're very common style processes that are highly successful across the industry. So our exploration strategy has been to have a look at the near mine and the regional areas. So here we have a 60-kilometre belt of the UME shear zone. It's highly fertile. There is a number of high-grade projects that run along it, but there's been very little exploration over the broader area over the past 20 years. In fact, it was only really the Penny West project that I think it was in 2019 that the initial drilling started, or 2020, and Spectrum Metals rapidly advanced that project before its acquisition by Ramelius Resources. We see a very similar pattern at Curran's Find, which sits just to the north of Penny West, that we will have a look at, progressing in the future. The UME project itself, we've been able to develop this exploration target off the known information that we have within the deposit. As I said, we've been more conservative in our resource estimation, ensuring that a lot of the inferred resources that have dropped out of our last resource update have gone into this exploration target. When we look at the areas in between the main lode and link area where we've had the massive conversion of indicated resources, these present very low-cost opportunities to continue to grow this resource and will add further ounces into our mine plan. And when we look at the depth of drilling on the Link resource, in comparison to the depth that we've drilled on the main lode at the moment, the deepest hole probably sits somewhere about 950 metres below surface, and it still runs at 6 metres at about 16 grams a tonne. At Link, the deepest hole drilled to date was down around 450 metres below surface and ran 22 metres at 12. I've got no doubt that the deeper we drill at these projects, we'll continue to add more and more ounces to this resource. At Midway and Paddy's, we've been quite conservative in our resource targets for these areas, having around 150,000 ounces as an exploration target. That's really just expanding out about 50 metres from the known drilling within the area to generate the exploration target. And I've got no doubt that we'll rapidly be able to grow these two projects if we continue to drill at the area, because the intersections that we're getting and the grades that we are getting are between 3 and 5 metres wide at 10 grams plus. Currans, as I spoke about before, this sits just north of Penny West with Ramelius Resources. This looks to be another high-grade satellite opportunity whereby we are still working out a lot of the structural controls to the mineralisation down here. Once we're able to apply our knowledge of the structural controls that we know at UME to some of these areas, I've got no doubt we'll continue to find more ounces. And something that came out of left field late last year, so our previous joint venture partner, Venus Metals, did a soil sampling campaign and developed a really high-grade lithium anomaly. You'll see it, their tenure just to the north of ours. Now, they subsequently went out, done a lot of rock chip sampling, came out with about 4.5% lithium in rock chips. Again, you know, very intriguing. We thought just before Christmas, we sent our geological team out there mapping to the south and doing a heap of soil samples. And lo and behold, we managed to stumble across what is effectively almost a 10 to 12 kilometre strike of lithium anomalism, all going at plus 100 ppm in soils. This looks to be quite a significant lithium mineralised zone, and potential interest in this, even though what's happened in the lithium price over the past 12 months, there still seems to be lots of interest in potential investment in these opportunities. So that is a funding source that we believe we could supply for rocks. Mount Fisher, Mount Eureka, similar again. This is an area that rocks previously had thought would probably sits within its own company as a potential spin out. With current market conditions, this is probably something that we may look to do as markets improve. So why invest in rocks? I don't think I need to, telling anyone anything new that there's a massive disconnect between the gold price and where even gold miners and gold explorers are trading at the moment. You are seeing gold miners generate more cash now than probably what they have done over the previous 5 or 6 years. What that's going to mean is more and more investment was going to start trickling down to the junior end of the industry, whether that's in M&A or whether that is in straight out investment or participation as joint ventures in some of these operations. We are at a position right now where we can take advantage of that cycle because we have a large gold resource, we're progressing it through feasibility studies, and there's no real developers with the quality of asset that we have at UME. I believe that we'll be able to take this project into production. We've got the team to be able to do it. And if we get more funding through the door with the potential sale of some of our non-core assets, this will potentially lead to growing that production target and growing that resource even further. Thank you very much for your time today, everyone, and come over and see us at the booth.